Well, good day, everyone. Glad to have you along with us on this Tuesday, the first day of June. I'm Bill Profita. Kevin Gallagher is still recuperating from his treatments. I assume he will be back with us as soon as the pain subsides, and we look forward to having him here. Thank you all for keeping him in your thoughts and prayers over this last couple months. I know he appreciates it, and I sure do too. So, today is officially the first day of hurricane season. And as we speak, the tropics are quiet. We are already coming up to the letter B because subtropical storm Anna was formed on May 22nd. We had no impact from that. And the next one will be Bill. I cannot tell you how much I detest that there may be a hurricane with my name on it that may be heading for us at some point in the future. Current forecasters say we're good for the next 5 days. In the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, or the Atlantic Ocean, nothing is forming up. But we started early and we're liable to go late. Last year, there were so many storms that forecasters ran out of names, if you'll remember, and had to go to the Greek alphabet. Remember Tropical Storm and then Hurricane Delta, which did so much damage to Louisiana? Yeah, Greek alphabet. They weren't talking about Delta Burke. Only the second time in recorded history that Greek names have been used. So, if we need more names this year, we have a list of supplemental storm names instead of the Greek alphabet. But we are expected to have a very, very, very active hurricane season. Now, according to NOAA and the National Hurricane Center, we are looking for 13 to 20 named storms, with 6 to 10 of them hurricanes, and 3 to 5 reaching Category 3 strength or higher. If this is an accurate forecast, this will be an above average season for 6 years in a row. Now, we did have above average seasons in 2019 and 2018, but if you remember, most of the energy that was really, really dangerous was up the East Coast or into northern Mexico and southern Texas. We were pretty lucky in Louisiana. Florida got a couple hits in 2018 and 2019. Last year was a bad year for Louisiana. I don't need to tell you, if you are in the Lafayette or Jennings area watching this show right now, that cleanup from last year's hurricane season has not yet been completed. That rebuilding is only just beginning. And the last thing on earth we need is any more high-powered storms impacting the Louisiana Gulf Coast. But we have absolutely no control over that, so we're just going to have to wait and see. We had 11 storms made landfall in the continental United States, 4 in Louisiana. These were big storms. The tropical storms, we had more that actually made landfall than that. So here we are getting ready. We will in 1 week? Maybe it's a week and a half. We're going to have the hurricane specialists and the disaster specialists from GOSEP on this very program. Talk a little bit about what has changed in terms of disaster prep and what we all need to look out for as we get into this hurricane season. Also, after the devastating, and I do mean devastating rains we had from the 16th through the 21st in this region, we are now looking for another 5-day pattern of rain starting tomorrow. Now, they say it is not going to be as bad as a week and a half ago. I certainly hope not. That will be the last thing that we need. I'm trying to get the list of names for those of you who like to follow the hurricane names, just to I guess just to have them at the tip of your tongue. I was going to go through them for you here, but I had to refresh the page, and of course, when you refresh it, we go into when is an upgrade not actually an upgrade? Well, when it doesn't work. So we'll see if we can get the list up real quick before we go to the break here, and give you the names of the hurricanes this year. Oh, and of course, a paywall. When it refreshes itself, a paywall comes up. Thank you. Thank you very much, Advocate. I was reading it, and you refreshed, and now the paywall comes up. Lovely. All right, let's see here. Let me see if I can get real quickly because we have a break coming. Here are the names. You know what? My grandma was slow, but she died of old age. Where are the names? Well, for those of you who have your laptops or your tablets in front, finally, Anna has already happened. Bill, Claudette, Danny, Elsa, Fred, Grace, Henri, Ida, Julian, Kate, Larry. Hurricane Larry? That better be a wimpy-ass storm. That really better be. Mindy, Nicholas, Odette, Peter, Rose, Sam, Teresa, Victor, and Wanda. And then the supplemental names, so we don't have to speak Greek if necessary. Adria, Braylon, Caridad, Deshawn, Emery, Foster, Gemma, Eep, Isla, Jacobus, Kenzie, Lucio, Michaela, Nolan, Orlando, Pax, Ronan, Sophie, Tayshawn, Viviana, and Will. All right, we got 52 names here, give or take. Because, yeah, I guess we don't get an X. So let's hope we don't have to use them. Back with more in a minute on Exiles TV. Stick around. I got one more just me before
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. How are you this morning? I hope you're enjoying the sunshine all throughout our viewing area. because apparently it's going to become a scarce commodity sometime tomorrow, maybe even later this afternoon for those of you to the west of the Baton Rouge area. For those of you to the east of Baton Rouge, it's going to trickle down to you as well tomorrow. Bad day. Memorial Day was a very, very bad day in Baton Rouge. It was a very bad day in New Orleans. I don't have the details on New Orleans, but let me tell you what. On Memorial Day in Baton Rouge, 3 different shootings. The latest of the day resulted in 3 deaths. The first one of the day resulted in a death. The second one, I don't know the person's condition and whether or not they are going to make it or not, but that really doesn't matter at this point because it is completely out of control. In the latest one that happened at the Fairway View Apartments on College Drive, happened just before 8 p.m. Investigators have now put together this bit of the narrative. An unknown male subject entered the gated pool area where a number of people were gathered. The unknown subject approached 2 male individuals who were seated near the pool. A short struggle occurred prior to the suspect firing several gunshots, striking the 2 individuals. An infant child who was playing in the area was also struck by gunfire. Dwayne Dunn Jr., who is 17 years old, along with Reginald Thomas, who is 20 years old, died at the scene from their injuries. An 18-month-old child, Jatiri Brown, was taken to a hospital, and the child died of gunshot injuries at the hospital. The investigation is ongoing at this particular point. Once again, if you know something, the police are asking you to call Crime Stoppers, 344-7867, 344-STOP, or you can call the Violent Crimes Unit of BRPD directly at 389-4869. The earlier shooting on Addison Street left 1 person dead. That apparently was what has become very, very vogue in Baton Rouge right now, firing into an automobile. The person who was killed was the driver of the automobile. And again, there is not a whole lot that is known or is being released at this particular point, but there were several witnesses. DeQuincy Smith, age 26, died from his injuries. The car he was driving, was fired into. He tried to flee the area, but crashed the vehicle. In fact, the vehicle was not even on its wheels. It was on its side. He died from his injuries at the scene. The neighbors were saying that they are shocked that this happened in broad daylight with lots of people out in their yards. Again, as our DA often says, a lot of this is caused by people that have a beef with one another. One witness, and this is not official from the police department, but one witness said that there were words that were exchanged before the unknown shooter fired into the car. And a 26-year-old, DeQuincy Smith, is dead. That's 4 dead. 4 dead in one short day. 4 dead in a day that was a work holiday for 99% of the population. And a holiday that is in honor of those who died in the service of our country, not who died over a nickel bag of drugs, or not who died because someone disrespected them on Facebook. That is one of the suppositions right now that they're working on the Addison Street shooting. That this is over somebody talking bad about somebody else on Facebook. Are you freaking kidding me? Is this what we have become in this city? Where people will actually go somewhere armed with a firearm to shoot at somebody on their way to the store, on their way to work, because they didn't like something they said on Facebook? Are you kidding? Darwin was right. But it's not taking care of the problem. This is not survival of the fittest. This is survival of the dim-wittedest. And unfortunately, it's dangerous to everybody in the whole area. Because it's getting worse. Now, I've been told that the real-time Crime Intelligence Center monitors social media. I say this with all due respect. Perhaps you better hire some people from these neighborhoods to help you monitor and interpret for you, so maybe you can predict a little of this. Killing people over a Facebook post? There is no hope. This cannot be rehabilitated. The only thing we can hope for is that Darwinism does its work. That one of these yo-yos puts the gun to their head first, laughing, and says, "You're next." Holy crap. Back in a moment on Exiles TV. Stick around.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
This is State Treasurer John Schroeder urging you to check your mailbox. We just mailed out $4.5 million of unclaimed property checks to people across Louisiana. Unclaimed property is lost money turned over to the Department of Treasury so we can return it to you. The process is so easy, you can claim it right from your phone. Check for yourself, check for your family, and don't forget to check your businesses. This is your money. Claim it. Check your mailbox. And cash your check. It's that easy.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us this morning. Joining us is Daniel Erspamer, who is president and CEO of the Pelican Institute. They are a Louisiana-based, nonpartisan think tank. You guys are busy all year long, looking at issues, looking at what people are going to do, what they might do, what they're trying to do. But when there's a legislative session, you guys go into overdrive.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the tax reform picture, which is something I know you always look at. What's going on in the Capitol right now?
Yes, it is a busy week. This is crunch time. Well, it's crunch time for everybody. It's 2 weeks, little less than 2 weeks left in the session. But tax reform, we're going to see a package of 4 bills move over the next couple of days. So again, 4 of them all tied together. It starts with a constitutional amendment. So voters are going to have the chance to weigh in on that this fall. The constitutional amendment gives the legislature the authority to decide on this deduction for federal taxes paid. You know, this is one of these things that sounds really good, but actually is really bad policy. It allows for the state finances to be tied to the federal government, which has, tremendous volatility. In fact, in the Trump administration, when tax burdens nationally came down, we increased taxes here in Louisiana by $350 million without ever having a vote of the legislature, just because of this policy. So really allowing the legislature to take that and legislate, they're going to take it out in the statutory language, but it also caps personal income tax rates at 4.75% in the constitutional amendment. That's a big win for taxpayers, and that's a big win for predictability in the state.
But if I understand it correctly, though, we're trading off with not being able to deduct the money we pay to the feds.
That's right.
Which for most of us is north of 26% and some as high as 39%.
That's right. Again, this is a policy that creates a tremendous amount of volatility at the state level. If there's one thing we know about business, entrepreneurs, predictability is the name of the game. So what happens in that statutory language for individuals, trading off that deduction for federal income taxes paid, what we get instead is we bring all the rates down. So the lowest bracket, 2%, goes down to 1.85. And a reminder, everybody pays the 2% bracket. If you're paying taxes, no matter how much you're making. So that everyone's getting a break there. The middle bracket comes down from 4 to 3.5. And that top bracket comes down from 6 to 4.25. So, and then that constitutional amendment will cap it so it can never go above 4.75. This is a good win. It is revenue neutral for the state, roughly, but it's also across all of the income spectrum. It's an average, right? So you may go up, just a wee little bit, go down a wee little bit, but it's going to be about the same for everybody. But we'll end up with the lowest rate in the southeast of states that levy a personal income tax, and the 4th lowest rate in the country. That's a big win as we stack up against other competing states.
Now, does this apply to businesses as well as individuals?
So that particular package applies to individuals and businesses that file as S-corps or pass-throughs, LLCs. Okay. There's a separate set. I mentioned this was 4 bills.
Yeah.
So 2 other bills address C-corps or corporate entities. And so the first one addresses the income tax rate. So again, we're trading off that deduction for federal income taxes paid. And what we do is condense 5 brackets into 4. So it's a step towards simplicity. And we're bringing those lower rates down to match the individuals. So those 2 lower rates are going to be 1.85 on corporate and 3.5 on corporate, just like they are on individuals. So whether you're a small business that's an S corp or a small business that's a C corp, you're paying the same amount of taxes here in Louisiana. And then the second piece of this is really important, a big win, is we're going to use revenue triggers to phase out the franchise tax. So Louisiana has the highest franchise tax of any state in the country.
Explain that to the viewers, what the franchise tax is.
Franchise tax, a terrible tax, just
a bad
top
tax.
To bottom.
As opposed to all those good taxes.
Oh, right, exactly. It's particularly pernicious, right? So this is a tax on your capital. So it's essentially just a price of doing business. It doesn't matter if you're profitable, if you're not profitable, everybody pays it.
It's just because.
Just for the privilege of being here in Louisiana. So this right now we pay 0.3% of a franchise tax. Again, that may sound like a big percentage, but we're talking about all of the capital that a company may have. That could be a huge amount of money.
If you're a $500 billion corporation, you're talking a lot of money just because.
A lot of money, that's right. And so what this does is it immediately eliminates the franchise tax on the first $300,000 of capital. That's a big win. That eliminates the burden for 85% of taxpayers. And then as what we expect, right, the economy will grow, which means government revenue will grow. This is the best way to broaden the base. We can continue to reduce the rate. So over time, as the economy grows, that franchise tax will phase out entirely. And that's a huge win for jobs in Louisiana.
What does the business lobby think of these things? People like the NFIB and the National Chamber of Commerce and Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. What do they think of these instruments?
Everybody's on board. This is never happens in Louisiana, but this has broad consensus. And while there is some not among those groups necessarily, but left and right, some quarreling over the specifics. For example, some people on the left don't love the revenue triggers. This is great public policy. By the way, the individuals have a revenue trigger as well. So as the economy grows, we're going to keep lowering individuals' rates as well. But everybody's on board, and everybody left, right, center, top and bottom agrees this income tax deduction, the federal taxes paid deduction, is just bad public policy. So there's a lot of momentum behind getting this done.
But it has opposition, and I'm going to guess that would come from the usual suspects. And you said, and this is key, I think people need to understand this, they don't like the revenue trigger. In other words, they don't like that the tax burden on people who are creating jobs is going to get lowered if they do well, right, because that's money they can't glom for some absolutely useless community center in their district. It's pork that they cannot put their hands on.
That's right. This allows taxpayers to be in the front of the line when we have economic growth, and that's the way it should be. It's the individuals and entrepreneurs and businesses in this state who are creating the jobs, who are creating the tax revenue. So the first thing we need to do, and let's be clear, these revenue triggers only kick in when three factors are met. When, for example, in the individual, when individual tax collections exceed the constitutional growth formula, which tends to be around 4% a year, when the rainy day fund is well funded, and when overall tax revenues increase. So when government increases, then that's when the triggers kick in. And it's important to note, North Carolina has been a great example of success in executing revenue triggers. They have cut their rates dramatically. Their corporate rate is down to a flat 2.5%, the lowest in the country. And yet, tax revenues in North Carolina have grown by over $10 billion in the decade.
Because people want to go there.
That's right. This is a win for everybody, and everyone should be able to get around this.
Will it pass?
I believe so. We're going to find out very soon, but all of the instruments at this point, all but a couple, have passed pretty much everything. Now we're reconciling differences. 2 of those bills are in conference committee right now. The language should come out today or tomorrow. The other 2 came out of the Senate committee yesterday and will come to the House floor tomorrow most likely. And so we'll know the answer to that very soon, but the fact of the matter is we believe the votes are there. We believe there's, again, broad consensus to do something like this. This isn't everything. We want a lot more, right? But this is a really important and good step forward.
Has the governor signaled that if it passes, he will sign it?
You know, the governor has said publicly that he supports these ideas in principle. He has not said publicly, at least that I'm aware, what he'll do with this specific package of legislation, but he said publicly, if a revenue neutral, which this is, package that simplifies the rates and eliminates the federal tax deduction comes to his desk, he would sign it. So I think it's important we hold him to his word.
Well, and again, there's a lot of signaling that goes on between our governor's office and our legislature, and always has been.
Sure.
And the governor sends a very strong signal when he says, if this bill passes, I will sign it, as opposed to, well, I kind of like the general concept of this.
Right.
I mean, is it a strong enough signal coming from the Capitol?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. Here's what I do know. If your viewers are watching, now is the time to let your elected officials know how you feel about this. Certainly, a plug for the website here. If you go to pelicaninstitute.org, the one-click way to get to your lawmakers and send them that message. We're working hard on the floor to talk to folks. So far, I'm very optimistic these instruments will move. As you know, a lot can happen in the last 2 weeks of the legislature.
Well, we're also, I think, we're basking in the glow of a lot of money that came in because of disaster.
Right.
We have been very, very fortunate for the federal largesse from the pandemic and also from the storms.
Right.
You know, when they were saying 7 or 8 months ago, oh, we won't need to raise any additional taxes, we're going to come out of this okay, I think that gave us a narrow little window of opportunity to get something like this done.
No question about it. Now is the time to do this. Of course, if we don't do it now, the next time is the election year, 2023. Nothing big regularly gets done in an election year. And so we're really punting this 4 more years if we don't do it now. And so now really is the time to get this done.
You can look over the analysis and what the 4 instruments are and what they really mean if you go to the website. Give it to them again.
Pelicaninstitute.org.
Pelicaninstitute.org. Our guest, Daniel Erspamer. He is the president and CEO of the Pelican Institute. They are a nonpartisan think tank here in the state of Louisiana. And we're going to have a lot more to say with what's going on in government or maybe happening in government. Things you should look out for in just a moment as we continue on Exiles TV. A reminder, you can watch the replay at 10 o'clock tonight and every night that we're on. And they have replays over the weekend. So tell your friends if they're at work and they missed it, tune us in instead of the late local news. In a moment.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are 2 busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
This is State Treasurer John Schroeder urging you to check your mailbox. We just mailed out $4.5 million of unclaimed property checks to people across Louisiana. Unclaimed property is lost money turned over to the Department of Treasury so we can return it to you. The process is so easy, you can claim it right from your phone. Check for yourself, check for your family, and don't forget to check your businesses. This is your money. Claim it. Check your mailbox. And cash your check. It's that easy.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us. Our guest today, Daniel Erspamer. He is the president and CEO of the Pelican Institute. As I have said when we've had him on in the past, it is a nonpartisan think tank in Louisiana about Louisiana issues. And God knows we have a lot to think about because some of the people that are sitting in that pointy building on 3rd Street aren't doing any thinking at all. So I've noticed that you all have been talking about the money we spend on education.
Yes.
And the result we get from it. Tell me what you've been seeing.
That's right. So we're spending on average about $13,000 per kid in our public education system. And maybe that doesn't mean anything to most people, but let's compare it. So they're spending about $10,000 per kid in Texas, about $9,000 per kid in Mississippi and Florida, and so about $10,000 in Arkansas, just to our north. And then you stack that up against results. So we're spending more, significantly more than any of our neighboring states, and yet we are paying our teachers less and getting worse outcomes. We're farther down on the list for student outcomes. So it just makes you start to ask the question, where's the money going? Why aren't we getting better outcomes? And so I don't know about you, for me, the very least government can do, the least they can do is tell us how they're spending our money. And unfortunately, these school board budgets just end up as being black holes of transparency. We just can't see where the money's going.
Well, I mean, I've got numerous problems with the lack of accountability and the lack of transparency.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a real stupid question: is can you determine how they are allocating the money? And that's a stupid question because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in education.
Yeah.
There are a lot of programs that are very, very high priced because they can be and because they know that they will purchase them because they are for at-risk students for that or for teacher mental health or for this and that and the other. But the basic educational funding mechanism is terribly flawed, in my opinion. It borders on being a Ponzi scheme.
And I venture to say there's maybe half a dozen people in the state who actually understand. It's called the MFP.
Yes.
It's incredibly complicated, and it eats up huge amounts of the budget, which I think everyone would be perfectly fine with if we had some confidence that these dollars were going to the right places. And by the way, our kids were actually learning and prepared for a career or college or the military or whatever awaits them. At the Pelican Institute, we believe that every kid in Louisiana deserves the opportunity to attend a school that fits him or her. And it's empowering parents, it's getting that transparency and holding our system accountable is how we're going to get to that.
Well, one of the biggest problems is that the local portion of the revenue is in the state of Louisiana 100% based on real estate taxes, property taxes.
Right.
And what happens is the people who generate the most in property taxes still pay them into the system, but their kids are not in the public schools, their kids are in private schools. And so they don't want to go through the hassle of trying to determine accountability.
Right.
But the people who pay no property taxes have the highest percentage of people in the public schools. And how do you hold the public schools accountable if you don't have your money in it?
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts.
It is, and that underscores another challenge, which is the only kids who have school choice, the only kids whose parents are able to choose what school they go to are rich families or wealthy families, and so the challenge, of course, we have is those who are lower on the economic spectrum are stuck with whatever school is in their district in most places or their zone for. So when you have sort of this lack of control of your own destiny, it's harder to make the tie to that, to accountability. But part of this is if we can improve our accountability scores and transparency and give parents that option to control their kids' destiny, wow, you really start to get some meaningful holding people accountable in the system.
Well, I think Destiny is showing a pretty good preview of what we're looking at if we don't do something in terms of results, because we have a violent crime problem in the state of Louisiana.
Yep.
We have it in our major cities, which also have the most poorly performing school districts, with the exception of Monroe. And public school education lack of achievement is directly related to crime.
Sure.
There is no way you can argue against that. But at the same time, you are dealing largely with a population who see the school as a place where their kids are safe for 7 hours a day and where their kids get a meal that they can't provide for them. There is no way to bring them into a grander thought of destiny.
Well, you're absolutely right, and education and the economy both are just inextricably linked to crime, right? If you have a booming economy and you have a job is really the best crime prevention. I mean, that's overly simplistic, but if we can help people get work, and it's especially important to help people who have been in the system, served their time, and are coming back. The biggest challenge of crime is recidivism, people who just are sort of that revolving door in and out of our criminal justice system. So there's been a lot of talk about this and energy. The more we can do, the better, to help those folks who are coming back out of the justice system, re-enter society, get a job, get the training that they need, and certainly preventing somebody from entering that life to begin with, and that goes back to our education system. And so, you know, all of these things are linked together, and the more we can do to spur the economy, prepare people for the work that's available, the better our crime rates are going to be, the better we can focus our criminal justice system.
So, if there were a legislative solution to this, would it be at the state level or would it be at the level of the school boards? Because, I mean, I've got to tell you, we have no at-large members here in East Baton Rouge Parish. I don't know about Orleans Parish. I don't know about Lafayette Parish. But these board members, for better or for worse, have these wonderful little monarchies where they don't have to worry about what's good for the whole, as long as they worry about the people who live in their district and whose vote they rely on.
Yeah.
So if a number of people in that district say, we don't care about discipline problems in the schools, that school board member is sitting that one out because he's not answerable or she's not answerable to the whole.
You know, this is, we have a lot of debates in the public policy world about what level of government a decision should be made, and probably nowhere more than education are those most fought. And I'm not just talking about state and local, but we're also talking about federal government mandates and all that sort of stuff. As a general rule, we tend to believe state government is dedicated by the Constitution, the United States Constitution, as the primary vehicle for public policy in America. Now, of course, we could have a whole other show about how much power has been taken by the federal government. That's right, the whole week. But the fact of the matter is the constitutions give state government that power. And so the state government then gives that or delegates some of that power down to the local government, and often that's good because they're most responsive to voters. But education is a mix of allowing local control but having good, solid standards that everyone has to come around to. Because, you know, we have to remember, we're not just competing, certainly not just competing between Orleans and Jefferson and East Baton Rouge. We're not even really competing between Louisiana and Mississippi. We're competing between Louisiana and Singapore. We're competing all across the world, and you know, when we just compare ourselves to each other, that's where we get into trouble. But when we compare ourselves to the rest of the world, and that's where those state standards and state kind of oversight of the local governments becomes so important, and that's where transparency comes in. If only we had access to those checkbook level spending, we would know a lot more about how our education systems are performing.
There are people in education, public education, that will say it's not our fault, it's all these mandates that come down from the federal government. I really don't. I think that's kind of a red herring.
Yeah, there's some truth to it in that again, if you're a classroom teacher, you're dealing with local mandates, state mandates, federal mandates. There's a lot of a lot of cooks in that kitchen. However, at the end of the day, we rely on those school districts, the teachers, the administrators to deliver a quality education product. And we're paying a lot of money for it. And we should demand that we see excellence coming out of there. And, a lot of times you're absolutely right, those get used as excuses. Instead of saying, here are the rules, just like any other business, just like any other enterprise, here are the rules by which we have to play. How do we do it best?
We have people on the school board in East Baton Rouge Parish that do not speak English properly. How does that translate into what we expect from the teachers who are under their purview?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the problem we've got with having elected officials on school boards.
Right.
You have areas that are not exactly filled with Mensas, and they send people just like them to the school board. And everybody thinks that that's a triumph of democracy. Right. No. You need to send somebody better than you, intellectually, if you want improvement.
That's right. And we have to persuade voters. We have to get out there in the communities and help voters connect these policies, the good ones and the bad, to these decisions and these outcomes. That's how ultimately we'll get the change that we need.
Well, we're going to have to take this up again as we are getting very near to out of time. But it's as always, very glad to have you on with us. Remind people where they can find out more about Pelican Institute and how they can interact with you.
Absolutely. PelicanInstitute.org. Lots of opportunity to read and interact. Also, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We want to hear from you. Engage in the conversation. Get involved. That's how things get changed.
Daniel Erspamer, wonderful to have you with us. We'll be back in a moment to wrap it up on Exiles TV. Stick around.
Spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. I'm Bill Profita. Kevin Gallagher out for a few more days as he recovers from medical treatment. want to remind you that you can find us all over. I know sometimes in the middle of the day it's tough to watch us live, but you can catch us on the replay, 10 o'clock, on this very same station, where you're watching it now or where you will tell somebody to watch it, 10 o'clock tonight, you'll see the replay. You can also go to YouTube. Pelican Broadcasting's channel on YouTube will have all of our shows, and you can watch as many of them as you'd like and as much of them as you would like. And of course, we also stream it live, by the way, every single day at pelicanbroadcasting.com. So there's a lot of ways that you can get in touch with us. Let's talk a little bit of baseball while we have a moment. I don't know that anybody was really surprised that Paul Mainieri announced his retirement last week. His retirement will be at the end of this season. Well, it ain't over yet. They were waiting, sitting on pins and needles to see if they were going to get an at-large invitation to go into one of the NCAA regional tournaments. And as good fortune would have it, they have. They're going to the regional in Eugene, Oregon. They will be playing Gonzaga. Now, I didn't know Gonzaga actually played baseball well enough to get into a tournament. I knew they were a basketball powerhouse. But LSU will play Gonzaga. They have a very, very similar record, both in the lower 30s in terms of wins, both in the high teens or early 20s in terms of losses. And this is a 4-team regional, and it will determine who goes on to a super regional. First game is, I think, on Friday. Well, you can find that easily enough. It will be on the ESPN streaming service. It will not be on their regular television service. So you will have to watch the stream if you want to watch Paul Mainieri and the Tigers in the NCAA regional. They had to take an invitation in. After losing to Georgia in the SEC tournament, they did not play their way in to this tournament. So hopefully they will have a good tournament run and make it to the super regional at the very least. And hey, from there, who knows? Now then, University of Texas is waiting in Austin to play our own Southern Jaguars. Now, Texas is the number 2 seed in the NCAA national tournament, but they are sweating seeing Southern University come to town. Southern's bats have been hot, and they will play at 1 p.m. this Friday in Austin. It is a double elimination tournament. Arizona and Fairfield are also in this particular regional. So it's UT, SU, Arizona State, and Fairfield in this super regional. They went 5-1 so far in postseason play. So Southern is on fire, and they may well be the team to watch in terms of all the NCAA regional play. But that is our sports update. LSU playing in the regional in Eugene, Oregon, some 2,200 miles away from here. And then Southern playing just down the road in Austin, Texas. And of course, we wish a lot of luck. Oh, by the way, I can't leave out Louisiana Tech. I don't think Natchitoches is in our viewing area, but they are actually hosting a regional for the first time in years and years and years, because they actually played their way in to the NCAA tournament rota. So congratulations to them as well. Louisiana, Northwestern State University. I should not say Louisiana Tech. Northwestern State. I had the wrong university there. In Natchitoches. They are hosting a regional. One other thing. For those of you in the Baton Rouge metropolitan area, and you've seen the flooding and you've seen the debris, and you've also heard about Bayou Manchac, and Ascension Parish Public Works and Iberville Parish Public Works have had to make what they call a cut near Alligator Bayou on the, I guess that is the south side of Bayou Manchac. And that is because the floodwaters were not draining. They are now draining from that area, even though we have more rain in the forecast in the Baton Rouge area. But here is another factor to the flooding we have. The Bayou Manchac Bridge on Old Perkins Road, and this is the link between East Baton Rouge Parish and Ascension Parish, is closed because of floodwaters, and it will continue to be closed for a while. It has to be inspected to see if there was any water damage from all the high water over the last several weeks, and of course the floodwaters. And so it is a very, very popular shortcut for people coming and going from East Baton Rouge to Ascension and vice versa. But the water has to recede far enough along Bayou Manchac for that bridge to be properly inspected to see if there has been damage done by weeks and weeks of high water. Not just the flooding of a week and a half ago, but all those severe rains that raised that water so high in the preceding 3 weeks. So we have got some bridges, and this one is kind of a key bridge for that part of both Ascension Parish, Prairieville area basically, and East Baton Rouge Parish, kind of the Blue Bayou CCL area. It's going to be closed for a while. It needs to be inspected, and that can't happen until all that water goes down. That cut near Alligator Bayou Road will help a little bit. So just be patient out there. Keep an eye on the weather in the next few days as well. That is going to do it for us today. We thank you so much for joining us. Remember the replay at 10 o'clock. Stay well, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next time right here on Exiles TV. God bless everybody.